Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I, Bancorft, am joining you all once again for another exciting deck profile. Not just any deck profile, but if you can tell by the thumbnail, it is Future Gohan. And this deck was amazing. And I want to say my deck list is probably 98% complete. I'm still thinking or debating about changing one card still, and I'll kind of talk about it when I get there. But like always, there's buttons. Feel free to click them. They're down below. Give you that moment real quick. And awesome. Let's get into the deck profile. The leader is your standard leader. When it attacks, it draws one card. It does have an awaken at 4 life. It's a hybrid, so you draw one, resend 1 energy. But you can awaken this leader sooner by bursting 3 cards. When one of your yellow battle cards with the blocker skill is KO'd, you draw 2 cards, and you add cards from your life till you have 6 life remaining, and flip this card over. Once you've awakened, you have 2 separate autos. One is for your turn, one is for your opponent's turn. During your turn, when this card attacks, you draw 1 card, then choose up to one of your yellow Future Trunks cards, and it gains 5,000 power and crit for the turn. Now, that is amazing because you always want to swing the leader first, so you guarantee giving those Trunks the 5k boost plus the crit, and that either means it's a 25k crit going to your opponent's leader, or yeah, because it's crit, you want to go to your leader, or it's a double strike dual attack 35,000 crit, which is pretty nice as well. The auto during your opponent's turn is that you choose one of your mono yellow Trunks Future cards. When your opponent attacks, switch to the chosen card to active mode, and it gets 6,000 power for the turn. Negate this skill for the turn as well, so you can only do that once per turn, but that just allows you to get an extra blocker in every single turn. And I do want to talk about this real quick. The burst 3, depending on what you're playing against, it may be nice to go ahead and awaken sooner than later by using the burst 3 auto. But keep in mind, you are milling 3 cards. I've had, in the past, milled my Secret Rare, which really sucked. But I've learned in certain matchups, you just want to go down to 4 life because getting that restand energy is always nice. And like I said, you're playing a deck full of blockers, so it should be fine regardless. For the first battle card we're going over, it's the 1-drop Son Gohan. I do play the 2 of, mainly because early game, it's not really beneficial. You could play it turn 1, but it's permanent's not proc, you don't have 6 life yet. But the auto is when if your leader is Son Gohan Future and you pretty much crit a life, you could play a 1-drop Trunks Future card of energy cost. Play a 1-drop Future Trunks card from your deck and then shuffle your deck afterwards. And sure, but then it goes to your opponent's turn. They swing at you 1 time. You can't block with it, so you're not proccing any other autos. So you gotta take it. Then now you're down to 6 life. It has blocker, and this kind of gives your opponent a choice. Either they can swing at you again, knowing that you can go ahead and activate the blocker, which will go off the 1-drop Trunks, which will go off the leader's effect as well because it's a 4k battle card. It's not going to survive. Or they could pass a turn, giving you another turn, which allows you to hang on to a blocker a little bit longer and potentially play more blockers so you could just constantly protect yourself. The 1-drop Trunks that this card will play if you crit a life is the Warrior of Hope, which I play as a 4 of. It is unique. When one of your yellow Son Gohan Future cards is KO'd by an opponent's attack, or removed from the battle area by one of their skills, you can play up to 1 Future Trunks with an energy cost of 3 from your deck on top of this card. So it's kind of a free evolve, which is pretty sweet. And we'll kind of go over those targets in a second. There's actually another way that this engine could play the 1-drop Trunks, and that is using the 2-drop Son Gohan, which I do play that as a 4 of. It has blocker naturally. What makes this card so good is that the auto is that when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, or you activate blocker skill. So you go blocker, which procs its 2nd auto, and now you can play the 1-drop Trunks from your deck onto the battlefield. And when he dies, it will proc the Trunks' ability. So Gohan has sacrificed himself for Trunks to move on. I play a 3-2 split on these 3-drops, and I chose these ones only because of order of operations. This skill is playing a card, which goes from the deck. That actually opens up the counter window that allows your opponent to counterplay before revealing the card. If they choose to counterplay, it makes my decision on what I pick better. If they choose a card that will bounce back to my hand or KO it, I choose the one from the expansion set, which I play the 2 of, because it has deflect and blocker. Now this could pay for 1 energy from my hand to just evolve it on top of the Trunks, which is pretty nice. It is a limited 1, so you can only play you only activate this ability once, this auto particularly. When you play or combo with this card, which has a 1-cost combo, you can add a 2-drop, is it 2 or less? Yeah, energy cost 2 or less, Son Gohan Future card from your deck to your hand. So it allows you to cycle back the 2 drops from your deck to your hand. So that way you can play that next turn and just keep that cycle of blockers going. Now, Spirit Boost 2, which you do need a unison on board, obviously, for that, and it has to have 2 markers. But for 3 yellow energy, when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO, you choose 1 Future Trunks card with energy cost of 8 in your hand, and you play it on top of it, which is amazing. The other Trunks option is actually my favorite to change the future. So barrier blocker, so you know it's protected. Once it's on the board, it's staying there. I mean, there are some cards that can get past barrier, but for the most case, it's staying. It does also have a 1 cost to evolve on top of it from your hand. The activate main. So you need 4 mono yellow energy to be able to activate this in the first place, but for 2 yellow energy, you can pretty much play the 8-drop Trunks on top of this card, and it's played inactive. Now you can obviously have 2 of these on the board and activate both their effects, because it does state that the activate main skills cannot be can only be activated once per turn, pretty much. But you swing 20k, you evolve it into the 8-drop, which is pretty nice. Keep in mind, if you are awakened, what I recommend doing is swing for the 3-drop first, pay the 2 energy to evolve into the 8-drop, then swing with the leader and give the 8-drop the crit. Because if you give it to Trunks and he evolves, he loses the crit. He'll maintain the 5,000 boost, but won't get anything else after that. So, since we're talking about it, let's go ahead and showcase it. 8-drop Trunks. Double Strike, Barrier, Dual Attack, Blocker. Now, this does have an evolve cost of pretty much 4 energy, 2 yellow, 2 whatever, on top of any future Trunks, so that could go off of our very first guy if we wanted it to. But after you swing with this card twice to your opponent, you activate its main. And the activate main is a once per turn effect, where if this card's in rest mode, choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and up to 1 of your energies, and the chosen cards can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. Now, granted, it is a block, and you're kind of like, well, why am I getting rid of my second attack for that effect? And it's a really strong effect, that's why. But keep in mind, the leader's secondary auto will restand it when your opponent swings. Also, we play 4 of the Piccolo Unison, which is always a good turn 3 play for me. So, first auto is when you activate blocker, it gains a marker, so it's keeping itself alive longer, which is pretty awesome. Secondary auto is that when you activate Spirit Boost, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than the current energy and negate its skills return. So if I were to pull off the expansion Trunks, that would proc off that, which is pretty nice. So it negates a card. So potentially if they have a blocker, we'll just get rid of their blocker. If they have a way of potentially like dealing with threats. Now granted, it won't get past barrier, but hey. It has a +1 activate main, which is what works so well for this deck. Choose one of your yellow battle cards, switch it to active mode to start your opponent's next turn. That allows you to swing twice with this card. Its activate main will restand during your opponent's turn. That way you have to block with from that point on. With this Unison, I currently have 3 of the Son Gohan Spirit Boosts. I'm thinking of making this a 2 of, and I'll go over the cards on the road what I would replace one of these with. But it's still a really nice card to get rid of problem cards. If it's your turn, when this card is played from your hand, choose to one of your opponent's skillless battle cards in rest mode and KO it. Okay. Once again, the Spirit Boost. When you remove a marker from this card using Spirit Boost, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs greater than their current energy, negate its skills. When you swing during your turn, activate battle for 1 yellow energy, plays this card from your hand with the Spirit Boost mechanic. You neg a card, then he will KO it as long as it's in rest mode. It does have an activate main, which 1 yellow energy, it is a way of kind of restarting your chain in a sense if you happen to have lost it. If your leader card is mono yellow and you place this card in its owner's drop area, play up to 1 yellow Trunks future card with an energy cost of 3 from your deck, then shuffle the deck if you look through it. So it just kind of allows you to restart your engine if need be. And truth be told, if you're on turn 4, pulling that off, you go right back to the 8-drop if you have it in your hand. So next couple cards are kind of like my tech options for the deck. SS Trunks is by far, in my opinion, one of the best yellow unisons. It's kind of like my go-to tech option, because of its -3 active main. So not only is it a dual attack 20k, so you put on the board, you swing twice with it, -3, draw 1 card, then you choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. I mean, if you're playing against a super aggro deck, that's your option. It does have a activate main for 0 markers. Choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. If that card had an energy cost 4 or less, negate its skills for the turn and KO it. So it can get rid of small cards before they become problems. And because I'm playing 6 Unisons, I only teched in 2 of the Prideful Transformations. It's just another blocker that free plays itself. And when you counterplay it taps a card coming in. So it's just a beautiful chain. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're playing the Pickle, if you have the Pickle on board, so you play it for free, you block with it, then he gains a marker. Now I mentioned the Spirit Boost Gohan is kind of like a way of recovering your chain if someone were to take care of it. So I have a couple other options for that. The first one is Hasty Dispatch Dispo. Activate main, if there's no cards in your battle area, and you send this card from your drop to your warp, you choose 1 battle card with energy cost of 1 in your drop area, and you play it for skills to get it, which is perfectly fine. Obviously our go-to card is the Trunks. And once you've established Trunks, you don't need skills because both of the 3 drops have the 1 cost to evolve on top of it. And like I said, it depends what you're playing against, just kind of figure out what would be your better option. If I can pull this one off, I always go for that one because then I can turn on just pay 2 energy to play that. So it's also another turn 4 recovery because Dispo is free to do 1 energy there, 2 energy, and you still have an open energy for your opponent's turn. Now, this next card, I'm thinking of replacing one of those Gohans from earlier to make this a 2-of. It is currently a 1-of. Piccolo Trusted Ally. Took me a long time to finally decide what to have this as a 1-of or 2-of before the game I had with Jimmy, which if you haven't seen it yet, it will be at the end of this video on the screen. Just check it out. It's a really good matchup. It actually showcases both our decks very well. But this Piccolo for 3 energy potentially gives you 4 blockers in your opponent's turn. So, deflect blocker, so if you're playing it, you know it's sticking, and you get its auto off immediately. The auto plays either a Sun Gohan Childhood or a Sun Gohan Future card with energy cost 2 or less from your deck or hand, and you play it. Keep in mind it's the same one where if you activate blocker here, he plays the 1 drop, and then from there you go into here for free, which then now you can block there. Leader restands. You can block again, you can block again. Like I said, 3 energy gives you 4 blockers. It's phenomenal. And like I said, it's another way potentially turn 4 play to start your chain over, keeping you 1 energy open. And you could do that turn 3 if you really, really needed to. The last tech option is Zarbon. Now I know set 13 came with a Goku, which I think was like activate battle for 1 energy. You play the Goku, and the Goku would like, I think you have to have a 3-drop Trunks on board, and it will restand the 3-drop Trunks. Sorry, if you have a 3 or less drop, I can't remember what it is. I'll put it on the screen. But I didn't like the fact that it costs energy to play. You could play it defensively to restand one of the blockers. But Zarbon's so much better. During your opponent's turn, when you combo with this card, choose to one of your battle cards and switch to active mode. So, I mean, you work for this one or you work for the 8-drop. Regardless, though, I mean, you're just keeping your engine going. You're keeping it alive. So Zarbon as a 3-of is a beautiful addition. And I give credit to that one to Fluff. And didn't mention earlier, but Jimmy got credit for the Dispo because he gave me the idea. Alright, so for my extra cards, I played 2 Power of the Super Saiyans. It is a negate, but I typically never use it as a negate. As long as you have one active energy that's mono yellow, you can activate this activate battle for free, and it allows you to draw a card and you tap with one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons, which is amazing. It replaces itself. If you need to use it as negate, you can. I think I've used it as negate 1 time in all my matchups. 2, these features in your hand. Negate, choose one. Sorry. 2, the features in your hand, which is a counter attack, negates the attack, but it has an activate battle from your warp, which is pretty nice. So choose this card from your drop. So choose this card in your drop area and 1 card from your hand, send them to the warp, choose it to one of your mono yellow Trunks future battle cards, and it can't be KO'd by your opponent's battle card or for the battle. Trunks is a good one to go off of. I've had plenty of times people were like, they'll over combo on this one to like 40 or 45 just to make sure they get rid of this and forcing me to restart my chain next turn. And I go, okay, cool. Activate battle. Your combos mean nothing now. As a one-of, Furious Awakening. So, Furious Awakening is a counterattack that doesn't actually negate the attack, but what it does instead is that it gives one of your active trunks revenge for the turn. And with the leader resanding it once and the Zarbon's resanding it again, you could potentially force your opponent to stop attacking altogether, or they're going to try to go over this. But like I said, if you have one of these in your hand, you could take a pretty heavy attack and be just fine. It does have an activate battle, which I really don't care too much about, where it shoots at one of your yellow trunks future battle cards, switch it to active mode. It gets plus 15,000 powers, but it has its skills to negate it for the turn. So, yes, if I were to choose this card from this position into here, like so my opponent will like, I've done all the blocks I could do. I can't block anymore. They're like, all right, I'm going to clear that card out. Swing the trunks. Say it's like they got to 40,000. Like, cool. I'll just activate battle instead. But if this is in my hand and I've activated blocker, I would have already done the counterattack. So I don't really ever use that activate battle. An old school negate, which is still a really great one, even though it's lost some of its steam due to the unisons being brought into the game. Flying Nimbus. It's one of the better yellow negates. I play as a one-of Vegeta's Final Flash. The deck just protects itself enough and allows attacks not to go to my leader. So I don't need to worry about double strikes or triple strikes and stuff like that, or crits. I could just block those attacks and then take the attacks I want to take. It's yellow, so I'm playing 4 of the Krillin super combos, which allows me to kind of bounce certain cards I need to back to bottom of my deck. So when I use the one-drop Trunks abilities to free evolve from the deck, they're there for me. And it allows you to cycle, like it allows you to cycle any card you don't need currently and draw 2 more cards. Secret rare choice, Shinron. And this is typically like when I have 4 energy, I typically play this card. So after I've already used this Trunks ability to go into the A drop for 2 energy, I'm still sitting on 2 open energy. So during my opponent's turn when they attack, I just block. Then I combo 1 for Shinron, and then Shinron's auto for 1 energy at the end of the battle in which this card is used in a combo from your hand. Play this card from your drop area. If you do, choose any number of your opponent's leader card, battle cards, and unisons equal to or less than the current energy, ignoring barrier and switching to rest mode. So if your opponent has 4 or 5 energy, you're tapping 4 or 5 cards. Then you have another blocker on board to keep yourself alive a little bit longer. And if he stays alive, you just gotta tap 4 energy, give him double strike, dual attack, and it's a 40k beater. So you swing, your opponent's like, negate or whatever, it restands, and then you can turn around and swing with the Trunks, see what they do there. And then you still have 2 blockers standing in case you need to. You can use the unison to restand whatever one you want to swing with, and you just swing again, restand. I mean, it's a beautiful chain. And last but not least, an overwhelm card. You know, just extra pressure. It also gets rid of battle cards on your opponent's side of the field, which is pretty nice. So it's just kind of something I wanted to play. So I also want to go over the secret rare real quick. The secret rare works perfectly with the 3-drop unison Trunks, because you play it, and then on your following turn, you can do the -3. You can play this swing, -3, and every card you tap with the Shinron is now gone because of Trunks' -3. But that is my Son Gohan deck profile. Hope you all enjoyed. I absolutely fell in love with this deck after playing it one weekend. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you would change about it. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. And remember, there's buttons. There's on the screen right now. Also on the screen somewhere is mine and Jimmy's matchup as well. Check it out if you haven't already. Read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.